Hi all, this is Shubha here, a cybersecurity expert. Today we are here to discuss about the most happening thing in the IT field. It's not in the IT field only, with any domain or the sector we talk about today. We are talking about the security. How is the security being tested? How is that being certified? Who is doing the audit? How is the cybersecurity market today? Let us have a look about all these things today in our session for next 30 to 40 minutes. So the topic remains as VAPT, that is vulnerability assessment and penetration testing in today's cybersecurity market. So these are the contents we'll be covering. So let me not spend much time on the contents because we'll be talking in depth about these things in each slide now. So let us start with understanding what is VAPT. Most of us, we have heard about the letters VAPT talking together all the time when we talk about the security in any domain today, because we all are connected through internet. We are sharing the resource, we are sharing the data, we are storing it, we are going ahead and doing our business on the data which is sitting on the cloud or on our local domains. How are these things is being secured today? So these things are being secured and tested through the vulnerability assessment and pen testing. So what is it and why it is required for you or me, for any business today which is happening, or any company or the government which is running their business and communicating through the IT field and the communication platform as internet. VAPT is a term often we have seen it and we have heard about it, which describes about the security testing. As I was talking about the security testing, this has been designed to identify and help address cybersecurity vulnerabilities. What are these vulnerabilities? So anyways, we'll be seeing in the next coming slides, this actually we are dealing with the security testing platforms, what we are using today, because most of us know that there are sensitive information sitting on our applications. We are having the softwares, we are having the devices. That is, whenever we are communicating in the internet today, we are having a lot of devices through which our traffic travels through. Hope everybody has heard about the word packets. That is nothing but the data, that is the zeros and ones, which will be traveling through the network and reaching you with whatever the information you have asked for or you are trying to regain it. But what about the security for these things? Whether it is sitting on a device, whether it is in a transit on any device or on the channel, how is it is being secured, how it is being tested? Probably most of you might have put this question to yourself asking, who is testing this? How are they testing this? What are they trying to do when they are testing? So this session will give you an introduction about what the VAPT is all about, how it is being tested, who will do the testing, who is going to certify that, and what is the qualification they require to do this kind of job, and why it is the most happening career opportunities today is sitting between this VAPT, and who are all the domains who are using this. Where can we find this? So all those information we will be seeing in the next coming slides. As I was talking about, vulnerability and assessment and penetration testing is a methodology that is composed of two, that is the most specific methods. In this, the vulnerability assessment is the first stage where the team identifies what are the vulnerabilities sitting in your network, in your application, in the softwares, so whatever we are using in the network. Let me give you an example. When you type in google.com on your browser, the browser will be going ahead and fetching the information from the server, that is the Google server. The packet, that is what the traffic, what we are talking, it starts from your browser to reach the server, and getting the information till your browser. It will be crossing hundreds and thousands and lakhs of devices in between, as to name them as firewalls, switches, routers. Will be having intrusion prevention systems, detection systems, so many other devices. And when they are crossing and when they are having this data sitting on these devices, we need to have the vulnerability tested on that. So why it is required? As I initially said, when there is a vulnerability, there are the criminals who will be utilizing that opportunity, that is the vulnerability, whatever is existing, they will utilize that to get into your network or to pull in the data, whatever is sitting on the servers. Well, this method is great for identifying vulnerabilities, that is VAPT. It cannot be differentiated between exploitable and non-exploitable vulnerabilities, where we have the second stage. As I said, the first stage is vulnerability assessment, and the second stage is the pen testing comes in. Where in the first stage, we will be going ahead and identifying what are the vulnerabilities sitting over there, and we will be reporting about the vulnerabilities. But in the second stage, the experts will be going ahead and trying to see which vulnerability can be exploited. As a hacker, who can get it, how he can utilize that opportunity. So here comes the difference between vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Vulnerability assessment is a rapid automated review of network devices. As I was talking about, it can be the devices, it can be the servers, the applications, or anything which is sitting in your network, whether it is internal or the external, what we are talking about. When there is a vulnerability, when we do the vulnerability assessment, we get the answer as what the vulnerability is sitting, whether it is the medium, critical, or high stated vulnerability which is sitting in your network, devices, applications, or the softwares. But at the same stage, when we do the penetration testing, which is an in-depth driven activity, focusing to see what kind of vulnerability it is, how that can be broken in or utilized as an opportunity to enter into a network or exploit that network or the device or the data can be pulled in. So the penetration testing answers the question, what can a motivated attacker can do? So when we talk about the vulnerability assessment, we talk about understanding the security. Understanding the security posture, developing and trying to mitigate the security issues. Here, what a tester will be doing is he will be gathering the information about the computer system. He'll be scanning the computers. As simple as when we talk about going to a doctor and asking him to do a medical checkup to understand if we are having any disease inside, which might not be seen outside, but we might be having something inside hidden. So when they do the in-depth scanning, they will understand what kind of disease or any other abnormalities are sitting in our human body system. That is the same thing what we will be doing to any network here. Here the scanning will be done on your computer and networks or onto the servers or onto the data systems to understand what kind of vulnerability is sitting. Listing the systems, users, and connecting them also, we will be checking in what kind of vulnerability is sitting. After this, we will be identifying the vulnerabilities associated with that particular systems. So the important work of the vulnerability assessment testers will be, they will be going ahead and gathering the information. They will be going ahead and scanning it. They will be going ahead and identify the vulnerabilities associated with those systems. They will make sure that these things are being put on a report where the respective team can go ahead and understand what is the criticality they are having in their network, which has to be given the priority, to go ahead and fix the issue. So in this slide, we are seeing about the tools which are being used. There are several of tools which are available. A couple of them are the open tools. We do have the paid versions which are running on that. We can go ahead and utilize these tools for the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. To name a couple of them, we have used Nexpose. This is the vulnerability management and risk management software. Nikto, OWASP Z attack proxy, VAPT. We have Nmap. We have Burp Suite, we have Rapid Scan, and there are a couple of them to name it. I'm not taking in detail about the tools because each tool has been built with the capability to go ahead and understand what the vulnerability is sitting over there, and the penetration test which can be done using these tools. Because if we start working on the tools, there are a lot many things to understand with the steps it has been used, how it has been developed, and how it was being initiated with these kind of tools to test automatically, because we do have an automatic testing and the manual testing also when we do the VAPT. So coming up to the next slides, as I was talking about the VAPT, when we talk about the vulnerability assessment and pen testing, there'll be another question also to understand that what are the stages which are involved in this. So the questions of what are the stages will give you how a vulnerability assessment tester will be going ahead and doing these technical tasks assigned for him. He will be collecting the information, searching for the information about the organization, employees in the open source, social networks, forums, blogs, because we do have a lot of networks available today. Search the technical ways. Identification. He will be identifying the existing resource like the applications on the hardware for that enterprise. Analysis of vulnerabilities and threats. By detection of vulnerabilities in the security system and application using a set of tools, as I was showing you about the set of tools, both commercial, that is the open source, and available tools, the paid version, they will be utilizing that to analyze the vulnerabilities and the threats which are sitting in the devices or in the network itself. Operation and data processing. Mitigation of real cyber attack to obtain information. Say that I have found a vulnerability, saying that there is an operating system that is which is running on a main server, which is not been having a patch fixed. So there is a vulnerability sitting, and when we know that there is a vulnerability already sitting over there, the attacker usually utilize that as an main platform to get into your network. I'm just giving an example as operating system. There might be so many things. There might be some misconfiguration which has been sitting on a firewall. There might be some misconfiguration which has been sitting on any other device, which is giving a big vulnerability, which is an open space for this attacker to get in. Then comes the formation of report. Design and present those findings, whatever the vulnerability assessment and penetration tester has found. He will be reporting all those things, putting on paper, saying that this is exactly what he has seen. Where is the vulnerability system? Vulnerabilities are sitting over there, and what is the priority given to those vulnerabilities? As I was talking about the highest priority, that is high, medium, and critical. And the priority goes according to those levels. Whenever it is critical, yes, of course, they are supposed to attend it immediately and fix it. Because these vulnerability and vulnerability assessment and penetration testing is being done to understand what are the strengths and the weakness of the network. So when we know the strength and weakness of our network with the devices and the data sitting over there, obviously we have having the blessings with it, because we know where to fix, which one has to be given the priority over there. So we spoke about the VA, we spoke about the PT. Now let us see the methodologies used. So we do have a white box pen testing. We have black box pen testing and gray box pen testing. White box pen testing. Here, the tester, that is the technical tester, has a complete access and in-depth knowledge of the system to be tested. So he will be knowing what kind of network it is, what kind of servers they are having, how they are being connected, how many workers are there having the access, what is the data, what kind of data is being sitting over there, how many devices are being there. So the complete information is given to the tester. So this is very helpful in carrying out the extensive pen testing, because the tester knows everything over there. But when it comes to black box pen testing, in this penetration testing approach, it's only the high level information is made available. He will be knowing what kind of network it is, but not the internal information. As we are talking about the black box pen testing, here the tester will be knowing a very little information. Say that the tester is being given the information saying that this is the SME organization and this is the network detail, not in depth, saying that it is having some 500 system connected. What kind of system, how it has been connected, how they are being configured, nothing is being given to him. And the tester is totally unaware of the system and the networks. Because here he just knows that there is a network with probably some 500 to 550 or 600 devices over there. But how they are being connected, what they are doing over, in the sense how they are being configured to work on, is no answer for him. So in this kind of black box pen testing, the tester will have to completely go ahead and test where the vulnerability is in sitting, and in that vulnerability, how that can be utilized to get inside or attack the network. And in this approach, he might miss some areas while testing because, as I said, it is completely in black. But when it comes to the gray box pen testing, makes here he'll be giving only a limited information available. He will be having a very limited information. As I said, white box, he will be having complete information. In black box, he'll be just given saying that this is the network for you. Say probably a 500 or 550 or 600 devices connected. But in the gray box, he'll be given a little bit of information saying that this is how the network has been connected. This is the organization. This is the website. So bit of information he has, and rest he has to go ahead and explore and test the network. So in the right side picture, you are seeing about the penetration testing steps involved over there, starting with scope, planning, scanning and vulnerability analysis, exploitation, privilege escalation, and finally reporting. On both the things, the most important part remains as a reporting, where everything will be documented, saying that what has been found in vulnerability assessment and what has been found in the pen testing. So in depth, a little bit information about the pen testing methods: external testing, internal testing, blind testing, double blind, and targeted testing. So external testing targets, as I said, when we are doing this kind of pen testing, we are segregating it with different methods. In the external penetration test, targets the assets of the company that are visible on the internet. In the internal test, the tester with the access to an application behind the firewall, because the firewall is sitting inside the network and the application is behind the firewall. In this penetration testing, we have blind testing, where the tester is only given the name of the enterprise that's being targeted. But in the double blind testing, the security personnel have no prior knowledge of simulated attack. So this is where we talk about the red and blue teams, because the security personnel have no prior knowledge of the simulated attack. So it becomes as a real world. So the security personnel inside the network, that is inside the organization, won't be knowing that somebody is trying to attack them. But in the targeted testing, both of them, the attacker and as well as the security personnel, they will be working together. In the blind testing, the attacker will try to go ahead and attack the target, where the security person who are sitting inside will have a real-time look into how an actual application assault will take place. So this gives them kind of ready for the next cyber war. Because when we don't know that who is trying to attack us and the security person is trying to go ahead and defend their network, they know that tomorrow if the same thing happens, what are the steps need to be taken, what needs to be prioritized, how it needs to be responded. So these kind of pen testing and vulnerability assessments are made as a readiness to go ahead and be ready to define any kind of attacks in the real world. So what has been tested in the pen test? As I was talking prior to this only, the software, hardware, network has been tested, the application, database, devices is being tested, Now we are having IoTs, we are having artificial intelligence, we are having cloud-based data. So there are so many things which makes a network work, which makes any IT company or the government or a health sector, you name it any. They are working on all these things. And each stuff which is being involved inside the network has to be tested. Without testing, yes, of course, even we are blindfolded to understand where or which corner is being attacked and which corner is open or vulnerable, which can be an attacker targeting through us. So inside of the tester, what does he do? He'll be exploring the ethical hacking. As I said, when he knows that there is a vulnerability, he can go ahead and try if we can just get inside through that. Exploring the malware threats and their countermeasures, monitoring and capturing packets using sniffing. He might sit as a man in middle. He can try sniffing the packets. As the traffic goes on, he can just sniff it and see what is that the packet contains. And he can just monitor it for a while, then he can attack. Restricting the system access, that is DDoS attacks, where he will be sending only the open packets where the legitimate traffic is being banned or restricted. Tricking people to gather confidential information, and wonderful tool that is called social engineering. Somebody might be sitting next to me asking about my organization. Without my knowledge, I might be blabbering or giving information. Say an example. If somebody is sitting in an airport and the second person talks to him saying that which company you're working, where does your company's VPN is terminating, I am not directly shooting into the other questions because there will be a lot of other questions in between where there will be a rapport build saying that where are you traveling? Do you have a VPN to connect through your laptop? Because I see that you're carrying the laptop because while traveling you have to work. And he will say, I know that it is a big shit because even I have to work while traveling and I'll connect through VPN. How about you? So I just skipped all those questions. So all those rapport building questions will be built to pull the exact information, and that we call it as social engineering. Web servers and threat associated with it. There might be the web servers where there is a threat already. Web applications, controlling user session with TCP connection, that is a session hijacking, injecting the code in the data-driven application, that is a SQL injections, hacking mobile platform. Probably a company might have given you a mobile and there is a threat already sitting inside that. And that threat or the vulnerability might be an open or a backdoor for any attacker. Encrypting, decrypting codes, evading firewalls, IDS, and honeypots. Wireless networks, the threat associated with the wireless network. Probably my wireless network password might be very common one, where anybody can try to connect it and get connected to my network. Who knows? Or it is so weak that it can be used or it can be easily cracked in. Cloud computing, virtualization, threat associated with these things. Yes, of course, they are targeting these things. So any corner I talk about, this VAPT will give us an complete knowledge to understand where the vulnerability is sitting and where the attacker can or attacker might get inside the network and attack us. Now let us see the common causes of vulnerability. As at the initial slides also I was talking, the misconfiguration, inaccuracy in program practices led to some of the causes for the vulnerabilities. You might have seen there are so many compliance in the audit which will be running in the organization. They might keep on sending you a mail saying that don't go ahead and share your password, keep changing your passwords when you're connecting through the VPNs or through the Wi-Fi. Do follow all these policies. These are the steps, practices. So probably sometime as a human, we might have skipped something. That might be an opportunity for any attacker. Poor architecture or network design. Probably somebody might have designed in such a way that there is a vulnerability already sitting in the architecture, where it is easy for an attacker to go ahead and gain access through that. System connected to an unprotected network. Yes, of course, I have a big network in my organization. Everything is being connected. But that system which is being connected is not protected properly. So how the attacker will know? Yes, of course, once he sits on to say that he wants to attack, he will be trying to understand what is that option he will be getting over there to get inside or attack on the network. Complicated or software net structures. So we might be having a device, a hardware device, which is having a very complicated structure. And as I said, weak password combination. Because most of the times we say that we are humans, we tend to forget the password. So let my password be my birth date, or it might be my phone number. If it is all the gentlemen, they love the bikes and cars, they will keep their passwords as their bike number or the car number. If it is a married woman, the easy guess is her kids or husband's birth date. So the combinations with the social engineering, obviously they will figure out what is the best they can pick it up. So as I said, with all these things, benefits of VAPT services, what are the benefits we are going to get through this? VAPT services offer extreme benefits to organization when it comes to security. So a couple of them are, it will give you a complete outlook of potential threats within the network. So it will tell you, okay, fine. In these 10 devices, I see that 9 of them are having the vulnerabilities which are in the high, that is in the high alert and the critical alert, which can be fixed. And tomorrow the attacker, which might be or who might be using these vulnerability options as an option to get in or attack the network or your application or your software. Help the organization recognize configuration errors and loopholes that lead to the cyber attack. As I said, there might be a couple of devices like my firewall, like my IPS IDS, which might not be configured in such a way that it is having a loophole sitting inside them. Say a simple one, I can say that as in the firewall, having the stealth rule, which might be sitting at the firewall rule number 1. So it is a loophole because in the firewall rule number 1, stealth rule, it says source any, destination any service allowed. So that means it's not blocking anything. The configuration is done, but the proper configuration is not done. So design the risk management strategy, because once we have the report, we can design the risk management strategies, saying that what configuration need to be done, what kind of access need to be given to the people, what kind of new devices has to be added, what kind of architecture we are having now which needs to be changed, and what more. This protects network from both inside and outside threats. We are not talking about only the inside threats. We are talking about the outside threats where the vulnerability is facing towards outside, where the attacker can come from outside. Safeguard data from malicious attack, protects unauthorized access and prevent data loss, because data is the biggest wealth what we are having today in any organization. Help accomplish compliance standards. We do have a lot of standards which we will be seeing in the next slides about the security audits. So what is a security audit or the VAPT audit? Auditing your systems, auditing your data, that is how secured, well secured it is, and getting the report about it. So who will do the audit? The auditing certified professionals will be coming and doing the auditing, that is the information security audit, and we do have the ISO 27001 followed with lot many other certifications where the security auditor will come and see that how well secured is your network, data, system, software, applications. They will go ahead and do the security compliance to understand whether there is a vulnerability setting. With looking onto the report, they can understand whether there is a vulnerability or the security in place for the organization. Why audit? Yes, of course. We need audit because we need to go ahead and present ourselves with a certification saying that how well we are secured, how is the clients or the stakeholders data is being secured in our organization with this certification audit. Because once the security audit is being done, the security certification audit will speak out than you speaking, because it will tell that how well you are secure. Because in today's world, if I say that I am owning a company and I want to do a business, the first thing my client would look on is saying that whether your network is being audited, do you have a security certified auditing certificate? That means the data, whatever I'm going to give it to you, is going to be secured in the future, or whatever the data you're already having from the other clients is being secure, because this data and the content, whatever we are sharing from or taking from our clients, need to be secured for the next business world that is in the cyberspace. So the total market today is depending on this kind of security, and that security is coming from testing the VAPT on our network application softwares and a lot of other stuff which are involved in the network. The security assessment and the audit goes hands on hands today. Why is pen test needed? As I said, yes, of course it is needed today to talk about our security and go ahead and fix up all the necessary vulnerabilities whichever is sitting in our organization and make it secure. The pen testing is needed. And prior to this, vulnerability assessment is giving us the report of saying that where the vulnerability can be pen tested and where the threats are sitting, where the vulnerability can be exposed, can be understood with the combination of VA and PT. So strength in the cyberspace. Today, 95% of cyber attacks exploit known vulnerabilities. To give a best example, hope every one of us remember about the WannaCry. WannaCry's vulnerability was reported a month or month and a half before the attack had happened. That is a ransom attack. PETA, it was the same thing. Microsoft has already spoken about it and had come up with the fix for these vulnerabilities. So 95% of cyber attacks is exploit about the known vulnerabilities, what we already know. So 15,000 new vulnerabilities are discovered each year. So that means every time we are having the new network design, new software coming, new application coming, new kind of devices being designed, we are having the vulnerabilities coming with that to our network. So whether it is a connected network or a new device which has been connected to the network, whether it is a software already running which needs a patch, or it is a new software which is being designed. It is the application which is being running or application which has been designed newly. Everything has to be tested with the VAPT episodically. It's not that today I'll do the VAPT and rest of my life I'm secure. It is exactly as the medical test, what we get done for our body. We need to have a VAPT done for our network and the devices with application data and the softwares. Because we know that strength today is nothing but knowing the vulnerabilities and fixing it. So we will depend on the technology, we'll be depending on the team who will be executing it, will be depending on the process, how it is going to be done. Because until and unless we are not sticking to the process, we are not doing the steps or we are not following. With all these things, the biggest strength in the cyberspace is having the training done and the awareness given about these kind of vulnerabilities and the awareness about what kind of attacks we are going to have. And the very important thing is timing. We should be knowing when the VAPT has to be done. At the same time, we need to know when we are having a vulnerability which is already sitting in the network, which can be an exposure to an attacker. We need to know the exact timing when it needs to be fixed. Because I can't say that today I got the report of vulnerability and pen testing as there is a high vulnerability sitting in my network and I'll fix it in next week. A minute to minute is being counted in the cyberspace. Because we don't know this vulnerability, which I am reading about the report now, might be going ahead and being attacked by somebody at my back. So that quick is the network today. Because we are talking about 5G speed today. So think about the attacker's speed. So with all these things, I say the strength in cyberspace is documentation. So whatever we are talking about, the vulnerabilities, assessments of these vulnerabilities, the penetration testing, or the auditing stuff, everything needs to be documented. Until and unless we have this documentation, it's going to be very difficult for us to go ahead and catch up on the time. So let us come into the market now. Who's been included in the market today? Everybody. Because in the market, we are having the business with the data, computing devices. We do have the Communication channel as the internet, the technologies, concepts has been involved. We are having the customers over there. We are having the government sitting. We are having the IT companies, education sector. So in the market, we are having everybody involved in. So who needs this? Who needs the VAPT in market today? Can you name one domain or the sector who doesn't need it? I bet on it. There is no one. Because the names or the sector you are seeing on the screen now, the banking and the finance, the most important sector. Health and pharmacy, yes, of course. If I have a good health, then only I can go ahead and do something in my life. So that is important. Government, yes, of course, it is a very important sector. ITES, yes, we need it because we are going ahead and utilizing the technology today. Telecom, I'm talking to you today and I'm using this presentation because I have the telephone connection and the internet connection. So that's important. Education and academic. I'm talking with you because I know bit about the education or I've been educated. So that is the platform which is putting me to you now. Public sector, that's the government arm. I'm staying safe because of the government arms. That is all the three, Air Force, armies and navies. They are securing us. Police and internal security, important. Legal compliance, yes, of course it is important. Satellite communication, I need it because I need a communication. Aerospace and aviation, I need to travel and internet has been involved. Transport, logistics, mining, media, oil, gas, agriculture, what not is involved in the market today. And every sector today, let me bet on that, everybody is depending on the data today. And to go ahead and access this data and to go ahead and communicate with the other sector or in the same sector who are sitting in the different part of the globe today are using the internet. So where there is the internet, where we are having the business running, so there we need the VAPT today. As I said, when we talk about the market for VAPT is huge because every person, as I have seen, they had prejudiced the thing saying that VAPT is falling only for IT. Let me tell you, wherever we are having the internet and data sitting today, they need a VAPT done. Isn't it? So in today's market, I'm talking about the cybersecurity market now. So how is it? As I spoke in the previous slide, everybody in the market needs the VAPT. So here we are seeing the influencing factors, that is the opportunities, the market challenges. We are seeing the agreement, collaborations, partnerships, everything is happening because they are going to trust us on depending our cyber audit reports. Now the market size for the VAPT or the cyberspace is huge because whatever the domain we talk about, whatever the sector we talk about today, they want the latest technology to be involved because they want to have the business run the way. They want to have the data distributed. They want to have the communication happening with all their clients and the stakeholders. With this all added, they want to have the IoTs involved. With all this happen, they want to have the artificial intelligence involved in this. So when all these things are being involved, what is the first thing comes into the picture is security. When we want to have the good security, VAPT plays the important role. So the market line, I'm just pulling from 2018 to 2021, the 4 years before and future. So how is it seen today? So these are the impacts. I have just pulled the statistics about the most impacted vendors, software products, top 10 vulnerabilities with counts, tickets by status, ticket remediation time, open vulnerabilities by scale. I'm not reading in detail because it's just a statistics to go on now as we are having a very limited time for this session. Because today on the vulnerability, when we are checking, everybody wants to have it on a single platform to understand how the market is doing. In fact, the important thing about the market, even in the share markets today, they are going ahead and checking the clients or wherever they want to invest the money. They want to go ahead and check whether there is a security audit being done. Was there any vulnerability which was figured out? Was that vulnerability used to attack? Because I don't know, today I might be investing some money in the share market on one company, and if it is having the biggest vulnerability which has been reported, which has not been fixed, obviously they are going to lose in the market, and my money in the share market, whatever I have invested, is surely been a loss. So talk about the domain today. Everybody needs it. Become the industry ready for cybersecurity jobs in 2020, because just now we started with 2020 and we know that including the coronavirus has taken us on the stage where it talks about the security, because a lot of data has been flowing around. We are having less people who are attending it, and I'm very sure when everybody is back onto the market in a weeks now, they are supposed to have medical checkup for themselves and a VAPT done for their network, because so many networks were devices, softwares were unattended for a while. And security check for that, yes, it's mandatory. So how somebody can be educated? What are the steps he can take to become a pen tester or a vulnerability assessment expert? He can become a certified hacker. Initially, the initial or the basic thing he need to know is about the networking. He need to know how is the network formed, what are the things he's being involved in the network. Then he can get in and get certified as a hacker. He can get certified as a pen tester and an incident handler. Because the moment there is an attack, that becomes an incident. One needs to handle that incident. So we need the incident handlers. We need to have the certified vulnerability assessor. If there is a vulnerability which is being figured out or reported, somebody needs to assess it. We want the pen testers. We want the security analyst who can sit and analyze what kind of vulnerability, what kind of testing, where it needs to be fixed. So these are the certification what I have just listed to give you out in picture that how big the market is today. And whenever there comes the question of salaries, let me tell you, these are the people who are being well paid today. Because yes, of course, as I said, testing the vulnerability, knowing where the vulnerability is, handling that, and going ahead and fixing that. That becomes the priority for any organization. And as I showed you the different domains, there is no domain without a vulnerability tester or the person who can go ahead and handle it. Because everybody is depending on the internet and the devices with data. Softwares and applications are already there. IoT, AI is getting involved. So having a pen tester becomes a mandatory for them. So the job responsibilities, once we are having the education, as I said, if somebody is getting certified and getting into the job, he will be going ahead and identifying the critical flaws in the network, application, or cyber attacks, or which could become an exploit. He will conduct a VA, he will conduct a PT, he will go ahead and do the audits. If somebody is really interested on doing the vulnerability assessment and pen testing, obviously he will be also interested with doing the security audits for us. They will be using the automated tools. There they will be trained on a couple of tools. They will use the manual testing techniques. They will develop, test, and modify the custom reports. Comply and track the vulnerabilities over the time. As I said, the VAPT has to be episodical. Review and define the requirements of the security solution. Supply hands-on training. As I said, they have to be trained and given an awareness. Develop and maintain the vulnerability assessment database. Reporting, which is also an important task. So after this, when they get the job, what might be the salaries or what might be the pay scale they are being paid? And this is not very specific in any geolocation. It has been just picked up with the figures for 2019. So the security assessor, an average salary of $90,000 according to the median salary. So vulnerability assessor to be, it has been from 2019, what we have picked, it is 62,356, an approximate figure. As a cybersecurity specialist, they will be earning up to 70 to 80K. In the Midwest and East, they are talking about. In India, they are being well paid today. Because I know that until and unless you're having the very well qualified and the guy who can bang and say that this is a vulnerability which is going to go ahead and have the attacker getting into my network where I want to secure it, and if it shows that you can secure it, obviously the organization is going to pay him very well. And to get that knowledge, yes, of course, getting certified, getting the training done for that, and going ahead step by step to become a best security expert is mandatory. Because most of the people, they have prejudiced the thing saying that having the training for 5 to 6 days they can become the analyst or the pen testers or the experts. Let me tell you, the very important thing is they have to have the knowledge. At the same time, they have to utilize the knowledge at the timely factor. They should be knowing when there is a vulnerability, when that needs to be fixed, and how much time they have to go ahead and handle that incident. That is the main reason I say that once we know the strength and the weakness of our organization, that gives the important, very important platform which shows up where we need to go ahead and concentrate. Because here I'm talking about when we have the VAPT done, we will be having a blueprint. With that blueprint, we will be having catalog, assets, and resource in the system. It will tell us like what is the importance of the assets and the data we are having, which needs to be gone ahead and given the importance of securing more, which is having the highest vulnerability, the potential threats of the assets, everything. It will give you a complete report. And it will tell you mitigate or eliminate the most of vulnerabilities of the critical assets can be handled using that blueprints of the blueprint. So when it came to the tips and tricks, I said it's very important to know that the awareness spreading across in the organization about the vulnerabilities and the penetration testing which needs to be done needs to be aware for everybody. They need to have a minimum knowledge. Training done in time for the technical guys and the non-technical guys, whoever is handling the devices or whoever is going ahead and being a part of the security system has to be trained. Auditing. Auditing is nothing but having the VAPT done and the security auditing done in time. And the episodical time, whatever is being mentioned, has to be kept on ticking clocks. Risk management program. After we know that there is a vulnerability, we need to know the risk management has to be in place and the program has to be designed. With all these things, the very important thing is the readiness to handle or defend the network is very important. Because when we know that our network is the first thing which needs to be given the priority, because in my network, I'm having my software, application, data, and rest of everything sitting inside. The attacker might be coming from outside, or we might be having an attacker from inside. And the vulnerability, we have to get to know where it is sitting. So in the tips and tricks, the very important thing, as I said, is know the strengths and weakness. Know what is the strength in your organization. Know what is the weakness. And that can be figured out when you do the VAPT. And when we have done the VAPT, please do put the things on the report. Try to understand which need to be addressed as the priority. So here it comes. As with a given time, I'm ready for the questions because knowledge is power. So once we have the knowledge, we know how to utilize that and secure our network.